Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Brandon A. Wright. He is a special lecturer over at the School of Music, Theater, and Dance, Oakland University. This has to be a hard time to try to teach kids in your genre. It's not like, English lit where you can say, hey, read this and let's all do a Zoom discussion about the author. You are so specialized. What's this been like for you?
Interesting.
Speechless, right?
but underwhelming word, because you're right. What we do in the arts is not meant to be done virtually. But I'm really blessed to be at Oakland because the students and the staff are so supportive, and everyone, has we've just realize that this is where we are, and we really are making the day-to-day decision and effort to make the best of it. So it's the best of some crazy circumstances. So
these are crazy circumstances. Hey, before we kind of dive into a little bit more about how you're teaching and your students, do you want to give us a little bit of information on your background? How did you even get into being a special lecturer over there at Oakland University?
Yeah. So, and first of all, let me say thank you for having me. This is one of the most exciting things I've done in a long time.
Oh my God, Brandon, don't say that because we need to get you a life if that's the case.
No, I'm really, really glad to hang out with you guys this morning. So yeah, I am actually from New Jersey, born and raised in New Jersey. I made my way to Michigan in 2015, where I went to graduate school at Wayne State in Detroit. So my Michigan ties are about 5 years deep. But I just, I fell in love with Detroit and with Michigan and have maintained some relationships since I started grad school. Funny story, I was actually supposed to join the faculty at Oakland last year. And at the very last minute was offered an amazing opportunity to play harpo in the national tour of The Color Purple. So I traveled with The Color Purple from 2019 until early this year when the coronavirus sort of outbreak happened in March. And as things would turn out, there was a space for me at Oakland this year. And so I'm really, really excited to be here now. Again, the challenge that we never saw coming, but it has really been amazing to be able to bring everything that I've done as an actor. I've worked in Chicago and in New York, and I have one of the best agents in the world in Chicago, Marissa Panessa. And so to be able to bring all of that experience to these students and to the theater community at Oakland, I think is a really special time because we have so much time to focus on things that we sort of lose when we're focused on just doing the next show and just putting the next production up. Now we get to sort of talk and have some more intimate conversations, right? And to prepare the students mentally to sort of aid what they hopefully will get physically really soon. So that's sort of a really, really broad recap of how I got here, but I'm really, really excited to be here. I'm really glad to be back in Michigan, although technically I'm not in Michigan.
We won't tell anyone that. But I will say, what an amazing experience, or you have such an incredible story for your students, for them to be able to hear from you and learn from you as someone who kind of was in their shoes not long ago, but then you had this amazing opportunity, but had to reshift because of the pandemic and those life experiences that you're able to teach your students now. How is it for your students? Are they hopeful about the future? Because there are so many people now, you wonder, are we ever going to get back to being comfortable, to being in a closed setting and going to theaters and going into those group settings? So if you're an actor who is into theater, do you see some students who are saying, I'm going to change careers, I'm going to change career paths right now?
I think that the truth of it is every day you're at a different place on that spectrum. Even for me, I've been blessed to have a really great career so far. And even, with all that I've done, I still have days where I'm like, okay, what's teaching was not on my radar until this summer. And so I think that with my students, I find that every day they just buoy, and it kind of puts us right in line with where the rest of the world is in that regard. The uncertainty of our industry is certainly a little bit more alarming because it requires, like you said, that sort of close in-person contact. But I think that what is inspiring for me is that these students are so creative these days. And because technology is already such a big part of their lives, they're really meeting the challenge of bringing themselves to how we have to perform right now. I bring things like TikTok assignments into my classroom. We record things. The Zoom theater, is sort of taking over right now. And they're really meeting the challenge of how do we create art in circumstances that were not meant to foster what we do. And so to sort of balance those moments of uncertainty or questioning or, doubt or fear, there's some really, really great creativity that's happening. And I think that at the end of the day is what will make this industry thrive and come back, is because the tenacity of the artists who are really, really invested in this is stronger than a pandemic. That sounded really big, but I think really it's so much stronger than this moment. So I'm sure we'll be back, and I'm sure that they're all really looking forward to stepping into the industry.
Brandon A. Wright with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. He's a special lecturer in the School of Music, Theater, and Dance at Oakland University, joining us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. And Brandon, with your students in theater, dance, and in music, with what they're learning right now, and the way that they're learning, having to learn this art virtually, do you believe that for those that are really soaking this in and are taking these lessons to heart and are really working at their craft, that this period of time may actually make them better actors or progress at a better pace as actors, as musicians, as dancers, than maybe they would have had they been in person at a more normal pace and under more normal circumstances?
Well, I think I like to say that they're becoming more equipped. Better or worse is sort of, to each his own, in the eye of the beholder, as you would say. But I think that they're becoming more equipped because being virtual has opened us to so many more opportunities and put us in contact with so many more people. Auditions, which is the main way that actors book their jobs, were always in person before the pandemic. And now, we're seeing auditions happen virtually and self-tape, which means you would record the audition and then send it to the people who are casting the project. And so to be able to audition virtually means that I don't have to be in New York or in Los Angeles or in Chicago at the moment of the audition, which opens, like I said, an infinite number of doors. And so to be able to spend the time with my students working on audition technique for the camera and to have them in front of a camera, 2-3 days a week, spending the time getting familiar with what they look like on camera and what their angles are and what this shape means and how we translate what we're used to doing on stage into this smaller space. And so I think it's making them more equipped artists. It's making them more able to handle what will come when they are ready to, step outside of the classroom doors, because they're really getting experience on what the industry is doing right now. And in our field, I think that the stage or the screen is the best teacher. You learn the most by doing. And so I think that it is very beneficial for them because they're getting some hands-on experience in what's actually happening right now.
Plus, you think about just from the standpoint of an expense, you don't have to move to these cities any longer. You can live and work wherever you are in order to take advantage of some of these opportunities. So hopefully that's the positive that sticks around post-pandemic for so many people in your industry. And talking about virtual, I know that you guys have a virtual event coming up, a play. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, and what has it been like to try to organize a virtual play?
You know, it has been a different kind of challenge every single day. You know, the COVID restrictions and guidelines were at one point in our favor because we have a small cast for this show. And so we were really looking forward to doing some things in person. And then, you know, at the drop of a dime, things get turned upside down. So having to literally sort of wait until the morning to see what the world is like, you know, today, to see what we can do today, has really been a challenge, to put it nicely. But I'm so excited for this project. We are presenting Appropriate, which is a play by a playwright named Brandon Jacobs Jenkins. So we do share the same first name. But the play is called Appropriate. It is featuring Oakland University theater students. It is my first time directing at the collegiate level, so I'm really excited about that. And what the gift of this experience has been for me, early on we decided that we were going to pre-record the production. So although it premieres on Monday, November 23rd, it is already recorded and edited and put together. And that, oddly enough, has made it feel a little bit more like a theater experience because we've gotten to include sound elements and lighting elements and other pieces of the puzzle that make it feel, hopefully, like as close to a theatrical performance as you would get in this setting. And so I'm really, really excited for the final product. These students have put so much work into it and so much passion into it. Excuse me. And I think that for them, it has been therapeutic in a way because the process is something that they're used to and something that they miss. And so to be together every night, you know, rehearsals tend to be 3-4 hours a day, every day. And that has been missing in a lot of our lives for the past few months. And so to be able to gather with the same group of people for those few hours every day, I think has really been meaningful to them. And so Appropriate will be on Zoom on November 23rd, and we're really, really excited about it. It's a really fantastic piece of work.
So how did you actually film it? Did they rehearse together in person, or did they do it virtually?
So we were able to rehearse a few times in person, which I think helped us when we got to the point of recording. It was all recorded virtually, so it was not recorded in person, but we were able to be in a room together for a few times, which helped to establish some of the relationships and some of the connection that occurs in this play. And so the students were sort of able to hold on to that and recall that when we got to the point of recording virtually.
Brendan A. Wright with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast. He is a special lecturer for the School of Music, Theater, and Dance at Oakland University. They have a virtual play coming up here. One of the good things, I guess, so many people have been spending a lot of time at home watching more television, more Netflix, more Hulu. So they've upgraded their home theater studios. So I would imagine if you have a bigger TV or better sound system, it's going to make this experience a little bit better as well.
I think so. Like I said, we've tried to add some really fun elements so that you're not just watching a bunch of faces read lines, but that you're really experiencing the telling of this story, which is what's at the heart of theater, right? It's storytelling. And this play is so complex. It's funny and it's heartbreaking and it's challenging. And so I think that what our audiences will leave with is a night of a full emotional experience, which again, we want to take advantage of, in these times. I don't think that people have seen anything quite like this. I'm going to go ahead and venture and say that, because we've really tried to see what's been presented in these last couple of weeks and meet the level of quality, but also put our own unique spin on it. And so it's artistic and it's warm and it's scary at times, but at the end of the day, I think it is an artistic experience and something that you walk away feeling. And there's a talk back after the performance with myself and the actors. So if people have questions or things that they want to sort of reflect on, there'll be time for that after the performance as well. So it's really a come together community type of night, just to share some good art and be in the company of other people for a while.
We can all use that internet or interconnection, even if it is virtually right now. Hey, quickly, Brandon, before we let you go, I'm just kind of imagining if I'm a parent and I have a teenager or a college student and they want to go into the industry. Crazy time to do that. And I would think it's a hard conversation for a lot of parents in any regard, because some parents, they like for their kids to have stability. And your industry is not a stable industry outside of a pandemic. Now things are crazier than they've ever been. But what advice do you give to some of the people out there who do still want to follow their passion and are aspiring to either be on the stage or dancers or they're in theater? What advice do you have for them, as well as for their parents to support them?
Oh, that's such a hard question. Because I think you're right. We are in an uncertain industry, even without a global pandemic. My advice to those who want to go into the industry would be simply to open your lens. I think that when we start our younger selves, when we identify, I want to be an actor, or I want to be a dancer, or what have you, that we get tunnel visioned on that one thing, and that's the only way that I can express my art. And what I've learned in my career is that an artist is simply an artist, and that your artistic self should not be contained in that way. That I can be just as effective as an artist on the stage as I can be directing or teaching, and that I'm fulfilled artistically simply by being in an environment where creativity is happening. So that would be my sort of advice to students or younger artists. Just open yourself up to being an artist in whatever way it comes. That way you don't miss opportunities and you're not disappointed if things don't work out exactly a certain way. And to parents, it's a hard conversation. But I think that ultimately parents want their children to be their best selves and their happiest selves. And so if that passion is there, I think that you have to trust that it will land your child in a place where they will be stable, not necessarily in a conventional way, but that happiness and that peace of mind provides a certain kind of stability. And that being given the space to pursue that is more meaningful than sometimes we know how to put into words. But ultimately, there's something that happens on the inside of an artist when we're given the space to pursue that and to be our true selves. And so it's hard, I know, but allow your children to be themselves, because ultimately that I think is what a parent really, really wants, is to see their child happy. So hopefully that's helpful to someone.
I'm sure it is, and we want to wish you the best of luck on your upcoming performance there with the students. Virtual play called Appropriate. You can catch it virtually as well from the comfort of your own home, and you can even make your own popcorn. So just think of all the money that they're saving, right?
Yes. You can join us virtually on Monday, November 23rd. The virtual doors open at 6:30. The performance starts at 7. And to register for the performance, all you have to do is send an email to SMTD, School of Music, Theater, and Dance, box office, SMTD box office at oakland.edu. And you'll get the Zoom link the morning of the performance, and come and hang out with us on Monday night.
And quickly, is it free?
It is free. Of course, we are always willing to accept generous donations. The arts is, struggling right now in many ways. And so while the performance is free because we want everyone to enjoy the art, if you are so inclined to share with us financially, we are grateful because we want to keep programs like this around. So it is free, but suggested donation, and nothing is too large or too small.
For a lot of people, if you went to a performance, you went to a play at the Fox or something, you'd spend $30 on parking alone. So thank you so much for being with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast. Brandon A. Wright, he's a special lecturer for the School of Music, Theater, and Dance at Oakland University. Please check out their upcoming virtual play. It's so great that they're being creative and trying to come up with ways to keep the passion and the arts alive.